Good morning, you incredible human beings. Now, please, before we get into this, excuse me for shivering like a little bitch. It is freaking freezing here. I live in Noosa, which is like one of the sunniest, most beautiful parts of Australia. And it's normally 30 degrees here and it's sunny every single day. And at the moment, it's 20 degrees and I'm freaking freezing. So now, with that all out of the way, let's get into what we're here for. In this video, I am going to run you through my simple 3-step system on how you can alleviate stress when you have employee issues. And on top of that too, I'm also going to show you how a hyperactive amygdala is making you lose sleep. Now, this video is going to be really, really helpful for you if you're a business owner, if you have employees, and if you've ever experienced or are currently experiencing stress with employees that you're managing. It is potentially keeping you up at night. It is distracting you from doing your work. You feel like they're just zapping your time and your energy. Perhaps you're becoming slightly angry or impatient with your wife, your family, your kids. If you just feel like you're not you anymore and you've just got this constant burden, which is just like nagging at you. And finally, if you feel like the company that you run could be way, way bigger if you didn't ever have another employee issue again. If that's you, this video is going to be really, really super helpful for you. So listen up. I've been running, JCF, my company, for a substantial period of time. We're a multi-million dollar business, and I'm very, very proud of the size that we've been able to get to. My payroll alone is like well over $1 million, right? So I've hired a person or two in my time, and I've hired a person or two who has been an absolute shocker as well. We've got an incredible team. They're super, super high functioning individuals. Like, our team is incredible. Like, seriously, if you got to see the inner workings, if you ever came to any of our events, you'll see how high level our team is. Like, they're absolutely freaking phenomenal. And I'm so incredibly proud of how these guys function and how we work as a team, because they're absolutely incredible. But at the same time, it wasn't always that way. So if I take you back about 7 years ago now, these were in the early days of JCF. We're doing about 500 grand a year of revenue. I had a handful of employees, and I had one particular employee who was really, really nice. Actually a super, super nice guy. He was really, really smart. I educated the hell out of him. I invested tens of thousands of dollars into making this guy a phenomenal coach. Like, I invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, and I put everything into him. And he used to come back and he'd tell me all the time, when I check in, how's everything going? You're coaching well? You're happy with your performance? Yep. Everything's great. Now, this guy was also a referral from a good friend of mine. That's how he got into working with us. So there was always like this level of trust, because it came from a good friend. My good friend spoke really, really highly of this dude, and I was like, cool, right? I don't need to micromanage this guy. I can give him freedom. I can give him flexibility, all that sort of stuff. And wasn't that a fucking mistake? Because we started getting a couple of client complaints. And we thought, oh, well, that's weird. And a couple of them were just really, really angry guys. And I thought, okay, well, maybe these guys are pricks. But anyway, I'll start looking into it. And so I started slowly looking into the performance of this dude. And it turns out he was doing fucking nothing. Like, this guy, literally all he had to do was rock up, write programs, do his coaching calls, and just generally give a shit about his clients. And he did none of that at all. Like, none of that whatsoever. He literally was just useless. He was just sitting there taking a paycheck. And then I found out he was actually running another business while he was meant to be working for me, right? It was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it. He cost me over $200,000 of clients that were meant to be working with us, but left early because he just didn't give a shit about them, and he just didn't care about them whatsoever. And then on top of that too, when he started getting found out, he started lying, he started covering his tracks, and then he started bad-mouthing us and started trying to like spread misinformation about things that I'd done or things that I'd said or the way that I ran the company, a heap of bad stuff. And then, just to make things even worse, when we eventually did fire him, after giving him numerous warnings, investing thousands of dollars into training him, hours of training with him, and just generally trying to care. Like, I looked after this guy so much. I helped him refinance his car. I helped him sort out his budget. I helped him when he was having issues with his dad. He was having really big, tense issues with his dad. I helped him through all that. And after all this, he still shat on me, right? And so then when we've gone through all this, I've helped him out. We've given him warnings. We've given him training. We've tried everything to help save this guy and look after him, because I really care about my guys. If you come into my team, I'm going to look after you, right? After doing all this, he then goes and he tries to poach clients, right at the end. And this caused me a lot of stress because I thought, how could I get backstabbed so much? I've given you everything. I've given you a really good paying job. You're on salary, right? You get holidays, leave, everything. I look after you. I've cared for you. I've helped your financial situation. I've helped your personal situation, like everything. And you cost me $200,000. You slander my name. And then you go and try and poach clients as well. I thought, what the hell is going on here? Like, how does this happen? It's very, very stressful because financially it drained me. Emotionally, it drained me. Energetically, it drained me. It was really, really difficult. Started getting fucking gray hair. I was 24 and I had gray hair, right, from this one dude, from this one person. And I thought, well, this has got to change because I started getting impatient with Soph. And, you know, if I had a bad day with this employee, I'd come back and she would start copying it. And that wasn't good because if I kept going that way, Soph would have left. She wouldn't have stuck around because I was being a real prick because all the anger and the frustration I had built up inside, it was, you know, she copped it, unfortunately. That's super not fair. It's not okay. And it's really, really common, right? And so I had to decide, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to fix this? Because this is my fucking problem. How am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this stress? And that's what I'm going to run you through. The first thing that I want to introduce you to is a concept called an overactive amygdala. I'm just going to shift over to the iPad now. In our brain, right, this is a terrible drawing of a brain. Okay, so that's meant to be your brain. Okay, and this is your spinal cord, just for reference. There's this little area in here, right? This is called the amygdala. And I want you to remember this. It's very, very important that you know this. The amygdala is the center for stress. All right, that says center for stress. I apologize about my writing. I'm not the best writer generally, let alone when my fingers are cold. So this is the center for stress. This is where all of our stress response happens. So pretty much the body, the senses, the eyes, the ears, the nose, everything, they sense senses from outside, and they bring it in and they send it to the amygdala, and the amygdala processes it, okay? And what the amygdala does is it controls all our stress hormones, things like cortisol, things like adrenaline, all of these hormones which are related to stress. So if you've ever had anxiety before and you get really jittery, that's cortisol and adrenaline running through your veins. If you ever think of the worst case scenario, what could happen next? For example, you have like an argument with somebody and then you're already thinking about the next argument you're going to have with them. Yeah, that's your amygdala working, right? Because it's got the adrenaline and cortisol and that's elevating that and it's causing this stress response. If you ever feel like you can't sleep, if your brain is ever racing, if you feel brain foggy, if you can't focus, if you're talking in a conversation with someone. I used to do this with Soph all the time. We'd be out for dinner, we'd be eating, we'd be having a nice like date night together, and she would be talking and my brain would just be off somewhere else thinking about this fucking employee, right? And that is another example of how the amygdala is functioning, and that's what it does. The amygdala's purpose is to make us to survive. However, the issue, and I'm just going to go a little bit deeper on that. Its purpose is to make us survive when we're under a period of stress. So if we go back to like caveman times from where we've evolved, if you had a saber-toothed tiger coming after you, trying to eat you and your family, what are you going to do? You're either going to turn around, punch it in the face, or you're going to run away from it. You're going to get everyone, you're going to pick up the kids, you're going to run as fast as you can and get away. And it's going to make you hypervigilant. It's going to get you lots of energy. It's going to make you jittery so that you're ready to react and you're in that state of fight or flight, right? Now, the issue is that we don't have any saber-toothed tigers any longer. However, we still have the response to the saber-toothed tiger. Does that make sense? And one thing that's really, really interesting is that this amygdala actually intensifies. So the more that we use it, the better it gets. It's like a muscle. If you go to the gym and you do bicep curls every single day, you're going to get stronger and you're probably going to get bigger from doing your bicep curls every single day, right? Think of your amygdala as the same thing. If you train that amygdala, it is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and does something which we call increased firing rate, okay? And what's going to happen in this amygdala is it'll be more ready to use. So for example, with that employee who I had, he stressed me out because he wasn't looking after my clients. And I have a very, very high standard when it comes to clients. So he stressed me out when it came to looking after clients. Next thing after that, he started costing me money. Next thing after that, he started taking away my time. Next thing after that, he started treating me with disrespect. Next thing after that, he started trying to steal my clients, right? And each time that thing happened, it's gradually got more and more and more intense until it got to a stage where my amygdala was just firing on overdrive all the time. And it started costing me sleep, started giving me gray hair, taking my attention away, that whole thing. This amygdala, whenever it's overactive, we will overreact. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I was really, really stressed and dealing with this guy, I overreacted a lot. And it's all because of this amygdala. And that's a key concept that I want us to remember, is that whenever we are overreacting, whenever we're stressed, whenever we have a period of stress which keeps going on and we're dealing with a stressful employee, right, or employees, this amygdala is going to be overactive. So how do we fix this, right? I want to come back to something. The very first principle that I want to cover with you guys today is that whenever we have an issue with an employee, it is our fault. And you're probably going to be like, James, what the fuck? I didn't watch this for you to come and blame me for my issues. I'm like, no. Let's think of this differently. I want you to practice something called extreme ownership. And this was really, really helpful for me. It's an absolute game changer. And my old man used to say this. So my dad was very, very successful. He ran a company, had about 500, 700 employees. Very, very smart guy, right? And I learned a lot from him. That's one of the key reasons why I am where I am today, because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And I'll cover that in a sec as well. One of the things my old man always used to say to me, he said, did you hire the employee that way or did you manage them that way? And I used to hate it when he said this. Like, I freaking hated it. I'm like, oh, fuck off, Dad. It's just because he's a dickhead, right? And it took me about 5 years to realize like what he was saying. And this is what it came out to. If we have a bad employee, it is really our fault because we hired that employee, which means that we looked at them and said, yeah, okay, cool, you're good enough. You're the right personality. You have the right skills. You're the right fit for the culture. I trust you. I believe that you can do the work, right? We've said that. And then we've hired them, and then also we've managed them. We're there with them on the day-to-day. We should have KPIs. We should have systems set up. We should have structures to track them and see how they're performing. And if they're not performing well, we give them disciplinary, action and then exit them out of the company if needs be. And if we have an employee who's stressful, it means we either hire them that way or we manage them that way. Either they were that way beforehand and we didn't pick it up, or they've been turned that way as a result of our culture. And this is something we call extreme ownership, right? Extreme ownership means that we always blame ourselves. We never blame anything around us. And the whole principle around extreme ownership is this. If we go and blame somebody else for something which is our problem, right? Something which is impacting us, it immediately means that we've taken our power away. Now, you'll see people who have victim mindsets often do this. They'll go through and they'll say, oh, it's the government's fault that this and this and this happened. Oh, it's so-and-so's fault. It's my dad's fault. It's my mum's fault. It's my friend's fault. It's my employee's fault. And they go and blame that person. Now, it feels good to blame that person, but here's what it doesn't do, is it doesn't put you in a better position. In the end of the day, business is about winning. And so business is about taking ownership of everything, because the only time you can win is when you take ownership over something. Does that make sense? Because if you're continually passing the buck and you're not taking responsibility for what's going on within your business, it is going to be really, really difficult. Whereas on the other hand, if you say, you know what, this is my fault. So for example, me with my shitty employee, after a lot of talking with my dad and going backwards and forwards about it, I determined, okay, well, this is my fault. Well, what did I do wrong? Did I hire him wrong? What was wrong with my hiring process? And I went through and I looked at the way that I hired him and I analyzed and found every single thing that I did wrong. So guess what happened for the next person I employed? I didn't make all those same mistakes again. I got better. And the next thing I did was I looked through my management process. I was like, what did I do wrong here? I went through, analyzed everything. Sweet, there's like 1,000 different issues in here. I can fix all of those. And so by practicing extreme ownership, it made me better. And that is why we have such an incredible team here today with us at JCF. It's awesome. Second thing, stand on the shoulders of giants, right? Whenever you're stressed out, whenever you're anxious, whenever you just got an employee which is putting a lot of pressure on you and being really difficult, remember this: the problem that you're going through right now is not unique. Circumstances might be special, but it's not unique. Every single issue that you'll ever have when it comes to people has already been experienced by somebody else. Every issue that you're having right now, I've had it. Every single issue that you're having right now, my dad's had it, right? Loads of people who have been successful in business have already had this issue. So remember that your issue is not unique at all. You're very, very special. This comes back to a principle that we talk about. You're special, but you're not unique. You have different circumstances. Things are slightly different, but on the whole, it's pretty fucking stock standard. We're all very, very similar. And I want you to remember that. And so the cool thing about knowing that somebody has already solved this problem before and has already experienced what you're going through is this: you can go learn from them. It's the biggest shortcut. Going and trying to reinvent the wheel, going and trying to find something new or a new way and create your own path is the most difficult way of going business ever. And it's a very ego-driven way of growing a business. I remember going back a few years ago now, I was sitting in the office of a guy who had a digital advertising company, and he was doing like $20 or $30 million a year in revenue, right? I was doing about 500K. And I remember there telling him how freaking awesome I was. This dude just wanted to help me and to mentor and to coach me. And because I had such a big ego back then, I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to listen to all these solutions. I didn't want to do it. I want to do it my way because I want to be self-made. I want to be the man who did it all by myself. And guess what? He's got a company that grew many, many times over very, very quickly because he listened to his mentors, and my company stayed stagnant for the next 2 and a bit years, right? All because I didn't want to listen and I wanted to do it my way and my way only. Whenever we have ego, it limits us and it brings us down. Whereas if we stand on the shoulders of giants and we listen to people who are far, far smarter than us, well, not necessarily smarter than us, more learned, have more knowledge in a certain area, or are just doing better in a certain area than what we're doing, that is when we win. And as soon as I shifted that around and started investing heavily in mentoring and learning and surrounding myself with a bunch of really, really high level people, that is when my business started dramatically growing. And I don't know if you've heard that, but like in the last 9 to 10 months, my business has grown 252%, right? All because I started investing heavily. I spent about $300,000 a year last year on mentoring alone. And it was an absolute game changer for me. It was absolutely massive. Then the final thing that I want to talk with you guys about is optimizing amygdala function. All right, this is really, really key. So if I come back over onto this, so if we look at this amygdala, all right, this is the center for stress. It increases our cortisol and adrenaline. What we want to do is we want to be able to turn this amygdala down. We want to reduce its firing rate. Now, there are a whole heap of different things that we can do to optimize our amygdala function, and I'm going to run through a couple of them now. Number one, what we want to do is we want to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, or PSNS, also known as the rest and digest center. Now, the way that we can do this is by several things. Now, the most common one that people talk about is meditation. Don't know about you, but when I'm having employee issues and someone's just cost me 200 grand, I don't feel like meditating because my mind is going a million miles an hour. And this is where we can introduce breath work and incorporating appropriate breath. Our breath will regulate our nervous system like that. You can turn your sympathetic nervous system on, your fight or flight nervous system on. You can activate your amygdala like that, like really, really quick. But you can also turn it off equally as quick. And so what we need to do is we need to learn how to optimize our breath for us and how we can utilize that to make sure that we stay in a parasympathetic state over and over and over again. All right, that's the first thing. Second thing after this that we can do to optimize our amygdala is we can reframe the problem that we have and we can change our perspective on the problem. If we see these employee issues as employee issues, if we see them as a stress or as a threat, then we're going to continue to perceive them as that way, and the amygdala is going to continue to get activated. Whereas if we see them as an opportunity to grow because we practice extreme ownership and we say, hey, I didn't do a good enough hiring. How can I get better? Hey, I didn't do a good enough job of managing. How can I do better? If we do that, then we're going to instantly turn this problem from a problem into an opportunity to grow. And that is a massive, massive shift. And that allows exponential growth. And it has been monumentally important in the way that we do things. And then the third thing is having a guide and having someone along the ride with you who can actually help you out and who you can talk to and who can relate to you with these issues. Because let's be honest, most normal people don't get what we're going on about. Business owners are different. I mean, when you're growing up, you probably knew that you were always different and you probably had to overcome a lot of hardship. I mean, a lot of business owners had, a more difficult than average childhood where it wasn't always easy for them. A lot of business owners can't relate to people as well as what they can to other business owners and just feel like a lot of people just don't get you because you are different, right? There's a reason why you're in the top 1% of the world. It's because you're different, right? And so one of the biggest things that we can do is be around more people who get us. Stand on the shoulders of giants. Go out and find someone who has the solution to the problems that you have and then go and fix it. Does that make sense? So they're the easiest ways for us to revamp our amygdala, change our nervous system, reduce our stress, get our sleep back, get our life back, and start feeling awesome. Because once I started practicing these three things, extreme ownership, standing on the shoulders of giants, and then rewiring my nervous system and amygdala, everything got so much easier. And I got to a stage where at the end of the day, I wasn't exhausted anymore. I got to the stage where I could go out and I could have a meal with Soph and I wouldn't just be thinking about work. I could be present with her. I could be doing stuff with her. I could be enjoying my time with her. I got to the stage where I got my sex drive back. That was good. I didn't even mention that. I lost my sex drive through a lot of this because I was just thinking about work all the time. And I got my sex drive back. And I tell you what, sex is way, way better than no sex, right? I was able to go and have fun again. Business was fun. Business was enjoyable. And it wasn't making me gray. It wasn't making me age. It wasn't zapping my energy. It actually started giving back and it started making my life incredible again, which was a really, really massive change. Now, if you want to learn more about this and you want to be able to take yourself up onto the next level, you want to be able to manage your nervous system better, not be burned out, not be stressed, not be anxious when you're dealing with this sort of crap, we've got a whole heap of stuff which can help you out, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a form down on the page. Like once I've got this page drawn up, I'm going to have a form down below that you can click on it, right? And you can go through and you can pop in your details and I'll see what we can do if you want to help you. If you want to practice extreme ownership and you want to be able to make you better, if you want to be able to stand on the shoulders of giants and you want to be able to rewire your nervous system, this is your opportunity to do so because I'll show you this. Every single problem that you have right now, I've had it and I've solved it. And it's going to be very, very simple for me to help you out and do the same. And it all starts with you. How can we make you better? How can we make you a better business owner? How can we make you more successful? And how can we turn you into an incredible leader who's able to run a massive company or a company as big as you want it to be, which is wildly profitable, doesn't zap your stress, your time, your energy, and is something which actually allows you to be a really, really high level human and do an incredible job of what you're doing. So if you want access to that, if you would like to talk with us, want to jump on a call with my team or Ryan, we'll see what we can do for you, what information we can give you, how we can help you. Just fill in the form down below because I think it'll be really, really beneficial for you. We run a variety of programs from coaching on an individual level, where what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll assess your body and your mind. We'll find out exactly where you're crushing it, where you're not crushing it so much, and how we can make you even better than what you are at the moment. Then we'll go through and create a structure and a system for you, which you can do every single day, which is going to level you up, give you way more energy, improve your resilience to stress and anxiety, make sure that you never get burned out and you're always functioning at 110%. We'll give you accountability, guidance, support, the whole lot. On top of that too, we also have specific programs around hiring, around management of employees, around creating an incredible company culture, around making it so that you can perform at your peak as a leader within the company. This is our leadership coaching aspect of JCF. And it's been incredibly successful. We've got guys like Marcus Norton, who I've worked with, who's gone from doing pretty much being broke to doing about $150 million a year, right? In turnover. Like we've got guys like that, like over and over and over, who are just like Marcus, who are dominating every single day, who use us and employ our services so that we can help them build up their company massively. And the way that this works is, number one, figure out exactly what is potentially not going right within your company at the moment. Number two, after that, figure out what is going really, really well. Number three, create a game plan on how we're going to fix all those weak areas and bring them up to speed so that you can perform even better as a leader and make your team perform even better. And then finally, ensure that there are appropriate systems in place so that every single person within your company, within your team, is absolutely dominating. If you'd like any information on that, you'd like to learn more, potentially work with us, just fill in the form down below. We'll get in touch and we'll see exactly what you need and if and how we can help you out. On that note, guys, I'll leave you all to it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Click on the form, fill that out below. We'll be in touch.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got something out of it and you want to learn more, click the link below or type in High Performance Conversations with James Cant and you'll be able to check out all the podcasts that we've done. We cover a stack of different topics, everything from getting your mojo back, overcoming anxiety, self-doubt, self-esteem, and learning from some of the industries and some of the world's top performers in both business and in health. Look forward to having you on there.